I tell them to create a dialogue between the listener and the performer. It's not that you're playing at us. Don't just
Yeah.
play at us. Play with us. And it's not an easy concept to conceptualize. I say create like I use my bow for this. This is the bow. And I say create a line from your instrument, the music, all the way to the heart of the person
Yes.
sitting in the last row.
Oh, that's beautiful. I
And
love that.
it changes completely the way they play
Yeah.
and how they fill the room with their presence.
Hi, Mark.
Hi, Petra. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
Very good. Good to see you. It's been many years.
I know. I've been thinking this morning. We've spoken, I think, in lockdown and also afterwards as well.
Yes, it's been some
And is this
time.
one of your beautiful paintings behind you?
It is from the lockdown period, actually.
Yes, I remember that. Amazing. Do you still paint?
I don't. I play viola now.
Oh, okay. That keeps you keeps you occupied.
Yes, it's. I have my hands full.
Do you miss being so or the time that you could do something else?
I do a bit. Yeah, there are a few projects I'd like to get done. So I think we just need another pandemic so I can do something else. But I was recently in Japan and I was quite inspired by everything Japanese. So now my creative side is coming out in cooking. Everything is Japanese.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So what was it there that sparked your interest really?
It was just besides the culture and the cultural heritage and the all the temples and everything like this. In terms of food, I think it's the subtlety in the food. There are big flavors, but there are also very subtle flavors, and you have to kind of dig deep, and it's a little bit less obvious than Western cooking, and I think that's what's so nice about it. So.
But I remember my son went to Japan as well, and he sent me photographs sometimes of the food, and I was quite surprised because I didn't really thought of I thought of like sushi type of and very much raw type of foods, but I was quite surprised at the pictures that he sent me.
Yeah, no, there are a lot of cooked stuff, a lot of grilled stuff. Fish, meat, noodles, soups, all the different soups and the broths and the vegetables, and it's nice. And then they have lots of very special desserts. Nothing is as sweet as European desserts, so it's really delicate types of sweets, and I just thought it was lovely.
What took you to Japan? Did you do concerts there?
Yes, I was invited to play a recital in Niigata, which is facing Korea on the water. Lovely, great recital, and I premiered a new piece by a Japanese composer named Kensaku Shimizu. And this was a piece it was a world premiere, and it's for viola and piano. And it's based off of the No Theater. Have you heard of No Theater?
No.
It's a traditional Japanese theater that's usually quite intense, and most of the theater starts off with one character just slowly walking across the stage, and that can take a few minutes just to kind of set the mood. And this piece kind of recounts a mother who is looking for her child, has lost her child, and she went so far to the equivalent of the river Styx in Japanese culture, which is where the dead cross over into the other side, to the afterlife. And that's where she finds out that actually her child has been deceased for over a year. And in this piece, you really hear like a bit of hope, then you hear the realization, and then you hear the despair. and it is a heavy work, short, about 10 minutes, but really phenomenal. And I plan on programming it here in Europe.
Okay. And the viola, is that where you played?
Right, so yeah, it's for viola and piano, and I also played an entire program. I played Brahms sonata, I played Schubert, I played a Bach suite, and I recorded all 6 Bach suites, so they're coming out soon in May.
Hi, I'm Marc Sabbah, violist, and I'm playing the 6 suites by Johann Sebastian Bach on viola. Every suite opens with a prelude. And what that does is it basically shows the public what they're in for, what kind of character, what kind of mood, what kind of smell in the air there's going to be for this particular suite.
I remember you wrote to me, and it's that I find also so fascinating. So the Bach suites it's written for cello, but you played it on viola.
Correct. Luckily, the cello and the viola share the same strings. We share viola. We share A, D, G, C, or La, Re, Sol, Do. So the notes are the same. The challenging part about it is that the 6th suite normally is for a 5-string cello, and I only have 4 strings. So I had to make an arrangement of it and make it quite a personal work. So these were.
But what inspired this work? Why were you interested in recording it?
Bach has always been a part of my life, and my mother insisted that we play Bach from a very young age, and yes, and I quickly saw an evolution in Bach. It starts off very simple, and then you start getting deeper into Bach. You get into the counterpoints and all the different harmonies and the different colors and the articulations, and then you make it very complicated, right? And then the older you get, you go back to being simple again, and it's constantly evolving. Which this is one of the few composers that allows for such evolution.
And while you were working on this and the music and arranging it, was there something you discovered about his work that you didn't before?
Yes, when I was a student in conservatory, I worked a little bit with a Baroque cellist named Anner Bilsma. And Anner Bilsma gifted me a small book of all the 6 suites of Bach. The handwritten, it's a copy, of course, facsimile of a copy by Anna Magdalena Bach. And in it, you see bowings and you see a very kind of minimalistic approach to writing music. There are no fortes, there are no pianos, there are no crescendo, decrescendo, ritardando, none of that. It's all up for the musician. And it's the first time I saw sheet music that had so much and so little information at the same time. And that's when I thought, okay, I have a real opportunity here to make something or very unique or very true to maybe what Bach might have enjoyed listening to. I don't want to use the word what he would have wanted, because I think even in his time, every artist would play it slightly differently. So it's really about pleasing the composer. So I hope if Bach was around today, he would enjoy my interpretation.
Okay.
And this still is a great discovery for me, and I'll be studying these for the rest of my life, as well as the 6 sonatas and partitas for violin. I think they're also great works, very different.
the viola, for me, has a sort of a melancholic sound, you know, sort of a bit of a sad sound. Does that suit also the work that you did?
It certainly has a more philosophical tone. You're absolutely right. I think that the cello suites are, in a way, writing for a solo instrument means you need quite a bit of nostalgia. You need to fill the space with all the emotions. There's a lot of empty space when you play alone. And I think a good composer shows off the range of a musician and the instrument being used. The viola is interesting because it's situated between the violin and the cello. I would say really in between, even though it's shaped like it has the shape of a violin, or slightly different. It is its identity is really smack in the middle. So we have both the light sides, the high registers, and we also have the low registers. And I like to think of I used to think I want to imitate a cello in some way, but then I realized, I'm playing viola. I need to honor the instrument itself, and this is when the character of the music comes through best, in my opinion. Is when you honor your instrument and you turn it into a piece for viola. So yes, the nature of the instrument definitely helps this music.
Mm. But what was it initially that inspired you to play the viola and not the violin?
Well, I started
the cello.
Right. Well, I started on violin, and
okay.
and my sister was playing cello, and I always love these like deep, lower registers.
Me too. I do.
They're wonderful, right?
Yeah.
But 2 cellists in the house is a little bit much.
Oh, okay. Oh.
So. To be honest, my school, my music school at the time needed violists for orchestra and for chamber music. And they sent out a big memo to all the violinists saying, if you want to change to viola, we will give you a free viola and free viola lessons for 1 year.
Wow.
It's like, okay, interesting, I like a good deal. And I was like, viola, that's interesting. It's kind of close to cello, but I'm already too advanced on violin to switch to cello. So let's try viola. And my first notes on the instrument, I was sold immediately.
Really?
Wow, this is deep and rich, and it's not making me go deaf like the high E string on the violin. The violin is a very beautiful instrument. It's really gorgeous. The viola spoke to me more.
I interestingly spoke to also a violist. It's also for me such a beautiful instrument. I love the sound of the viola. And she said that as a child, she played the violin and she was just not motivated to practice. She didn't want to play the instrument. And then and her parents really tried to motivate her to play. And then she heard somebody play the viola. And the moment she heard the viola, she wanted to play it. And then suddenly it just all clicked. It's like you saying that sound that you heard and that, and now she's a professional violist. So such a interesting thing for me is that the sound of the instrument really, attracts the musician.
Absolutely. The instrument chooses the musician in a way.
Yeah, it's true.
But of course, there's the nature of the instrument, and then there's the nature of the musician. And if I put my viola into the hands of another violist, it will sound differently. Vice versa. And I was just yesterday. I played a solo recital for just viola, and I was thinking, it's not every day that people go to listen to a solo recital, because viola, especially, is not one of these, very popular instruments for solo recitals. It's not a cello, it's not a violin, it's not piano. Piano is the king of solo recitals. But I said, it doesn't matter. You could put a spoon and a fork in my hand. I'll still try and make something interesting of it. And so I think that's nice when we talk about artists and instruments. I think instrument is simply the vehicle for their artistry, and you could put anything in their hands, and they're still gonna be interesting, So,
But you mentioned now that it's not often that you play viola in a recital, for a recital, or a solo program. But why is that? Is there not enough written for it, or what do you think it is?
well, I luckily I'm lucky enough to play quite a few solo recitals. I don't think viola. There is plenty of repertoire.
Okay.
It's not a question of repertoire. There's also lots of arrangements that can be made. That are totally, I would say, legitimate to play as well. But I think the instrument itself doesn't have the best reputation, and the players playing the instrument also don't have the best reputation. We've kind of suffered for quite some time with a bad reputation, and I think today really proves the contrary. There's so many great artists out there. I don't want to use the word violists, but artists playing viola. Even Pinchas Zuckerman plays both and insists on playing both. Maxim Vengerov plays both. James Enos plays both. There are quite a few great violinists. I mean, some of the world's top violinists also insist on playing viola. Julian Rachlin also plays viola. A lot of them insist, which is kind of one of the reasons. I don't say I'm at the best in the world, but I also like to play violin. I find it's important to be able to play both. Yeah, I don't play often, but I try to play.
Is it difficult to switch between the instruments?
Not for me.
Okay.
Not for me. It takes an hour.
Oh, okay.
Just to get everything in place. But I would say the violin is in a way easier than the viola. There's there's a little bit less. It's less physical than the viola. I mean, the viola is actually physically exhausting to play at times.
Really?
Yes, it's heavier, it's bigger. The strings are thicker. The kind of pressure and speeds are different. The response is a bit slower, so everything needs a different approach, different touch. So.
But you're also teaching at the conservatoire?
Yes, actually today I have to go teach.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I teach at the Royal Conservatory of Mons, which is one of a few royal conservatories in Belgium, and I have a great class, very international class, students from all over the world, and we work and we have group classes, we have class concerts, they have exams. And I'm not just a professor. I don't just teach them how to play viola. I have to teach them a bit how to navigate life and how to navigate this musical world that's, complicated. So.
And that's also important because I spoke to a ballet teacher who teaches at Birmingham Royal Ballet, and he said the same thing. You know, he said it's almost that you have to make them realize what the outside of the academic, or not the academic, but the training is, so that they understand how to behave or how to take the opportunities that that's in the real world.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. A big part of our profession, I think, is the social aspect. Things like showing up on time, things like bringing a pencil,
Exactly.
making sure that your music is taped together, or you've had a nice booklet made. The other day we had a class concert, and there was a student who played, and in the middle of a beautiful Bach prelude, there was the student didn't bring a pedal. So the student completely stopped and had to touch the screen of the iPad, because they're using an iPad, which completely cut the music in half. And then we continued, and I thought it was such a shame, because when you play Bach, especially Bach of all things, it's a holy, sacred moment. And to not take the pedal into consideration for your iPad is such a it's almost criminal. These things, you talk about these things, and I had one student who just didn't tape their music, and the music was getting larger and larger over the stand, and then eventually it fell, and we had a little bit of a catastrophe. So these are like the technical things that you don't think about, but they're extremely important. How you present yourself to a public speaks volumes to your respect for the public, and your respect for the music, and your respect for yourself. Did you change your strings recently? Did you rehair your bow recently? Things that maybe you wouldn't think are that obvious, but they are. They're very important. You want to have good material, up-to-date material, so that you can play your best. And then, of course, all the rest, the technique and musical choices and the stage presence. This is what we do most of the time.
Yeah, I think it's, I think it's also what we don't think about always is are those little things. And also these young students and these young musicians, they go out and they have to audition, and they have to many times receive a no, and, go all over the world to try and find their place. So that's also something that they, it must be also that character building, and that getting used to receiving the no or the critique.
Yes. It's interesting that you talk about auditions, because having the mentality to win a competition is almost more important than being prepared enough for a competition. If you are not confident, or if you're not in a competitive mode, your performance can completely break down. I've sat on a few juries, and we've passed people who don't play perfectly, but they're very convincing. And sometimes the attitude is in a way more important than the technical playing. So I find that the thing that I have to work on most with my students, and students in general, because I teach quite often, is building self-confidence. It's believing that you'll go from here to here, or believing that the note will come out beautifully, or really believing in themselves. Believing is not easy. For those who are spiritual, they'll know that spirituality is not a very easy route to take. It's laden with questions and with doubts, lots. And this is a constant struggle that everyone, even professionals, have in music. What I try to do is I mostly do a lot of character building. I teach them how to become more self-confident on their own, because I tell them I won't always be there for you, you know. I want to give you the mechanisms to go conquer on your own, you know.
Well, I spoke to a soprano the other day, and she said, as a student, she always compared herself, and she always, you know, if somebody said, "Oh, they're going for this audition," she gets sort of anxious and think, "Oh, why? You know, I'll have to go that route as well, or I have to do this or dress this way," or and she actually said she wishes that in training or in education, music education, that there is this part where you can learn to understand that you are unique and that you have something to give in your way. And I think this is what you are also doing at the moment, is that motivation, that sort of finding your own voice, or finding who you are as a musician, as an artist, and what you can give.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it starts also from a very young age. I think children already know that they're different, that they're special, and each child is different, and each child is unique. And you don't have to be the most talented player to offer something sincere. Just yesterday, when I came back from Japan a few weeks ago, I went shopping, and I got some really interesting haori. They're called haori, which are kind of they look almost like half kimonos with kind of large draping things. They're beautiful with but interesting colors and textures. And I said, I'm going to wear one of these for my concerts, you know? I think they're really cool. And after the concert, I asked a few friends what they thought. Some liked it less, you know, but it's, you know, you have to just go for it, go and experiment and try. And I enjoyed it. I felt good in it, you know, and I'm probably going to wear them again. Or you do something musically, you push the limits of your own, of what you think you're capable of. You make some experiments on stage. Some work, some don't work. But as long as they come from an honest place, I think that's what artistry is all about. It's taking risk. It's it's part of creating. You know, it's like when you cook a new dish, the first few times that can come out, you know, too salty or not enough flavor or too much spice or too much of this. It takes time to perfect something you enjoy.
And I think also the audience can sense that, you know, if you feel confident about what you're doing, just the fact that you love what you're doing, and the fact that you loved wearing what you were wearing also, you know, I think the audience can feel it and can sense it.
We're also there, it was the same Professor Honor Bilsma, the cellist who passed away. He said, you know, music is for pleasure.
Exactly.
Don't take it too seriously. You know, the approach towards music should be taken seriously, but once you're on stage, you should enjoy what you do, because if you're not enjoying it, the public is not enjoying it.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's a real mirror. Well, I remember when I was playing in orchestra, I left the orchestra. I'm just an independent musician at the moment, which I'm very happy about. I would discuss with my colleagues and friends about different orchestras around the world. Oh, are they good? I don't know. Do they play well? And that's not really the question, because, you know, any orchestra can sound phenomenal, and the same orchestra can sound terrible. It really depends on who's conducting them, because, you know, the orchestra is a mirror to the conductor, and they mirror each other in a way. Why was I talking about that? Because I guess it's a question of influence. That's what I was talking about. An orchestra can really enjoy what they're doing if the conductor is enjoying what they're doing.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I've worked with enough conductors to say that the ones who really let you play and who don't get in your way too much, or who show a genuine joy for music, are the ones that allow the orchestra to sound the best, at their best, at least their best. And those who are less talented, I would say, or very micromanaging, or unsure of what they want, you know, the orchestra will mimic exactly what's going on in front of them. So same with the public when you play a solo recital. And I try also to give that to my students. When we do class concerts, I tell them to create a dialogue between the listener and the performer. It's not that you're playing at us. You know, don't just play at us. Play with us. And it's not an easy concept to conceptualize. I say create like I use my bow for this. This is the bow. And I say create a line from your instrument, you know, the music, all the way to the heart of the person sitting in the last row.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that.
It changes completely the way they play and how they fill the room with their presence.
Now, I do agree. And I think it's, you know, for me as an audience member, I don't have music education. So if I go and listen, I go with a different attitude or a different ear also, you know. And I want to enjoy it. And I can understand if you are a professional musician and you want to get it perfect and you have trained and you have done all that. But I think in the end, when it's there and it's the performance, it's more about the enjoyment and that the audience feel it. And I will always remember now this, what you said about the aiming for the heart, because that's really what it is.
It really is. And the way you play changes when you take the other person's heart into consideration. And that you don't play at them, that you play with them. It's very interesting. It's a very interesting concept. I'm glad that you go to concerts and you enjoy the experience.
Yeah.
Because a friend of mine, I recently performed something and I was very unhappy with the result. I don't think I played well, and which is a healthy thing. It's healthy that musicians are not always happy with their playing. It's how you get better. And he comforted me in a way. He said, "Look, there's 1% of the public that know the piece, you know,
Exactly.
and then there's a percentage of that 1%." Who know multiple interpretations of that piece, and who will nitpick your notes and all this stuff and your phrases and things like that. And you're concentrated on that, you know, that 0.5% or that 1% or that 2%. I'm sure in Austria the percentage is higher because people are really into music there. They know a lot. But he said there's 95% of the people are there to just enjoy something sincere, something honest, something, you know, something that'll move them. The rest is for the tiny percentile at the top. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that was comforting, but I'm still very hard on myself.
Yeah, but like you say, that's because you're doing it, and you need to be a little bit hard, you know, on yourself in the sense that you don't get. Or that you keep the standard. That's, you know, I think that's important, but I do think, like you say, there are times where it's just about the performance, really.
It's true. It's true. And sometimes I tell my students when they're too focused on the right notes or getting them in tune or putting them in the right place, sometimes I say, yeah, it sounds a little bit, what I say, up bow, down bow, dun, 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 dun. I said, can you play this but improvise? Let go a little bit, just enjoy it, enjoy yourself. And that was something that was told to me, and by jury members and professors, and they just said, just enjoy yourself, enough of this difficult life, just enjoy yourself.
Well, I spoke recently to a harpist from Japan, actually, and she told me that she actually got ill at a very young age because of this pressure of having wanting it so perfect and doing all the competitions and all the stress on her body, and she had to take a 20-year break.
20 years?
20-year break, and she's only 2 years ago she started playing the harp again, but completely differently. She now focuses on more of trying to get music to the audience that makes the audience also relax and makes her relax, and there's a lot of psychology behind it as well. But it is true, as a musician, if you have so much pressure on yourself, I can just imagine that you can get ill from it, from all the stress constantly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It happens often. It's happened to me. It happens to almost everyone I know. I think it's unavoidable if you are a professional musician. Of course, it gets much better with age, because you start to realize that you don't need to take it as seriously as you thought you once did. So I really try to avoid stress at all costs, because I don't do well under stress. I do well under pressure. These are two different things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think stress is something that you feel is out of your control, and that's what spirals people into this angst and anxious, a vortex of dread, and it manifests itself physically. They say stress is the killer, but it really is. I mean, people's lifespans are shortened because of high stress. I like pressure because I equate pressure to like timelines. I have a deadline and I have to get this done, which is totally within my competence, skill set. I can do that. That's fine. But once you start throwing in external factors and I love cooking, so I'm going to make a cooking metaphor.
Yeah, I like it as well.
Good. Imagine you're making a pasta with a tomato sauce, right? And all of a sudden someone comes in with a banana and says, I don't care how you do this, but put the banana in the dish, and make it work. Okay. And present it to, and then, so banana, you figure out a way to make a banana. And all someone comes and says, okay, well now I have watermelon. I want you to put watermelon in this pasta dish with the banana and make it work. This is no longer pressure. This is just pure stress.
Yeah.
Because and I think we do this to ourselves. And I know that there is having been to Japan and knowing a tiny bit of the Japanese cultures, I know that they put a little pressure on themselves to attain greatness and to get high grades in school and do well at work, and it often backfires, and there's a lot of depression. There's even suicides, and I think that one shouldn't go to the extreme of being too serious about work and results, nor should they go completely carefree.
Exactly.
There has to be a nice balance and equilibrium between the two.
Yeah.
So I hope she's doing better, and I hope.
No, she's well. She's so it's wonderful. It was such a wonderful conversation and so touching, because I just thought a 20-year break in such a career, and she doesn't regret it at all. And that made me also think, that we always think everything has to happen at a certain time, but it doesn't. So it's sometimes better to take the time and get well, and then have a different mindset to what you are doing.
Yes, yes, and there's always room for each approach to music. There's room for her type of music. There's a public for that kind of thing. There isn't just a harp. There are endless kind of possibilities. I think that to kind of piggyback onto what you were saying, we often tend to think that there's only one way for things, but in fact, a lot of people want to follow the market,
Exactly.
and this is limiting. A friend of mine explained to me, Mark, don't follow the market, shape the market.
Yes.
And I really like this. Of course, I use the word market. It has a transactional connotation to it, but in a way, I mean, realistically speaking, that's also what we do. We play to also make a living, but we also play to touch people. That is the most important. The more people you touch, the more successful you'll be. I think so. It's not, I realized this slowly. I can't only play the classics and get away with it. I have to also start doing other things. Composing is one of the kind of an important thing to me. I just finished a small string trio for my string trio.
Oh, wow.
And I'm writing a new piece for Viola, and it's rare. It's rare that I think we spoke about that the last time we spoke. The composer performer. That this tradition has kind of died off, but I think it's being revived. There are quite a few strong players who are phenomenal composers as well, and performing their own works at their concerts. So it's even more personal touch, and some people are making full careers out of this. So
that's also amazing. But talk to me about the trio Normada, because that's actually what I saw, I think, on Instagram.
Yes. Yes, I'm lucky enough to be a founding member and current member of this trio Nomada, and Nomada it's not only is the trio does the trio have a nomadic kind of lifestyle, meaning that each member of the trio travels and has kind of a very global view of life, because even though each one has their base, we're constantly moving around, and we all have many different backgrounds. Each one of us comes from two separate cultures. We're all mixes. Noe Inui, who's our violinist, and David Cohen, I met separately, actually. I started playing with Noe as a duo, violin and viola, and we played very well together. We got along, and a mutual friend recommended that we add a cello, and they recommended David, and we called David and said, David, let's play a concert together. No commitment. Let's just see how it goes. And we played a trio together, and I think we instantly knew that there was something to this. And we have been playing together for, I think, 6 or 7 years. And time flies. and we've been to Ecuador together. We've been Germany. We've been around the world. We've been around. We want to do much more. It's a little bit difficult because each one is in a different country. David
So, in which countries are they?
David, our cellist lives in London, and Noe, the violinist, lives in Düsseldorf, Germany, and I live in Brussels. And each one has their respective families, and so being a full-time trio sometimes has its challenges. But we have quite a few concerts a year, and we collaborate with pianists, and we collaborate. So actually, in a week, we're going to be playing here in the prestigious Chateau Sainte-Anne here in Belgium, in Brussels. And we always do like a New Year's concert. We do a tour of Germany. And we're trying to make our way over to Japan, which is very important.
Okay.
Really three kind of explosive musicians, I would say. And I think that what you want to find in a musician is a wide range of colors and emotions and textures, and they bring that to the table for sure. And I like my position in the middle. I like being the violist because from the viola I can kind of control and keep an eye on everything, and even Niccolo Paganini, the great violinist, loved playing viola in chamber music because he said from the viola position I can control tempo, I can control. I mean, this is like a little something for the control freaks out there. I can control the tempo. I can control the dynamics of the group. I can control rhythm. I can I have connection with violin and with cello. It was his way of being kind of a conductor. Maybe I have a bit of a conductor's complex. Maybe I want to. But our trio, we have a very democratic approach to music making, and we often don't have to speak too much. We don't, our rehearsals are efficient, and they're also experimental. We're open to trying new ideas and different things, and of course, playing concerts and playing the pieces several times just helps things settle into place. So we're hopefully going to record a disc and make some videos because everything is visual these days.
But this is also important, isn't it? This chemistry between you as musicians in a trio like this.
Very important. Very important. We're also very good friends. That's if you're going to be driving in a car with someone for multiple hours, for multiple days, you want someone you can get along with. And it doesn't mean that we haven't had our friction. It doesn't mean that we haven't had our disagreements, but our friendship is stronger, I think, than any squabbles that we might.
And where do you do your rehearsals then, or how do you get together, or where do you decide to get together?
Often my apartment. We're here. We play
Really?
here.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
we're here. Or if we don't have much time, we'll rehearse at the venue itself, at the concert hall,
Oh, okay.
the place where we're going to be playing. But it's often here in my house, which is nice. I don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I prepare some coffee and some food
Oh, okay.
and some wine. Make sure.
Yeah. So they travel to you then.
Yes, because David has family in Brussels and Noe has family in Brussels.
Oh,
They're
I
actually originally from
Okay.
Belgium, both of them. They're both Belgium. So I'm very
So
well
that's
placed.
convenient. Yeah.
Yes, yes. It's very convenient.
But you're originally from the States.
Right, correct. I'm originally from New York City.
Yeah. And do you go back often?
I don't. No.
Really? Oh,
No.
okay.
I'm very happy here and I probably should go back, but I don't know.
You're happy.
Maybe I'm taking a 20-year break, like Japanese harpist. I'll go back. I'll go back for sure. I'll visit. I haven't played there since 2016, so that's something that I have to work on that.
Yeah. No, but I mean, you have to be where you're happy. I mean, where it feels like home for you.
True, true. I mean, recently discovering Asia is a real blessing. I was 10 days in China, 10 days in Japan. They're very different, and I know people like to say they're very different, but there is a kind of there's an approach that I think Asian cultures have that resonates really well with me, and I think that could be a potential for me, personally, where to live, but also musically speaking. I mean, the China is an incredible place, growing market, and lots of interest, and they have, Asian cultures have their own classical music. There is Thai classical music, there is Chinese classical music, which are with traditional instruments, but the manner in which it's taught is extremely rigorous and traditional, and in a way, it's more rigorous than Western classical music.
Really?
Yes, because it explains why they're so strong. I mean, if you look at the finalists of every competition, you'll have people from Korea and Japan and China, and it's a combination of their work ethic, their sensibility for music, and I think they get a bad rap in the sense we say, oh, but they don't show their emotions. Maybe not to you, but the second they step on stage, it's an explosion of emotion. So it's there. It's definitely there. Whether it's on a silver plate, like I think more Westerners would show their emotions and wear their emotions on their sleeve.
Yeah.
The Asian culture is the opposite. So they will show their emotion, only when they're really sharing it with you. I think in a moment of cultural exchange. So it ties in with a much deeper philosophy that I think is conducive to myself and to a society like that. I mean, there's a reason that I won't ramble on, but in Japan, for example, there are signs everywhere saying, please don't talk loud on your phone. It might disturb others.
Ah,
You know,
yes.
please don't wear strong perfumes and colognes. It might bother others. There are all these signs about thinking about the other first instead of yourself. And that's why the streets are totally clean and there's no graffiti. And, you know, there's a communal sense that that I think is something very precious there. And it ties in with music. You know, when you play music for someone, it is a real communal experience. Like I said, you don't play at a public, you play with the public. You include them in your spiritual or cultural realm.
Well, I can sort of understand where you're coming from, because my son went to, like I said, he went to Japan for a week, and he also came back totally, you know, in love with this country and this culture, and he also did some shopping there and came back with some stuff, and but and you know, and talking and hearing about all these, and that's what he said, extremely polite.
Yes.
Everybody is just extremely polite and caring,
Very
and
helpful. Everyone wants to help. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the quality of things are just higher. The philosophy is, you know, decor is very minimalist there. Everything has a place, and every place has its thing. Everything. Instead of collecting, you know, 30 cups, you have 5 cups that you take care of and you really use.
Oh, yes.
Things like that. And this is, I'm probably exaggerating. So for any.
No, but I mean, this is what he also realized, that minimalistic, but it's then also the value that they put on things, and I think the pace as well, as everything is done with care, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everything is done with care and with dignity. There's a lot of honor in things you do. You know, your word is worth a lot, and I think that says a lot about those societies in general.
And you know, I spoke to a composer, a young composer. Her dad is Italian. Her mum is Japanese, and she said that she grew up in these two extremes: the Italian, you know, like this Italian culture, and the Japanese culture, and she sort of got to a middle ground for herself. You know, she took the nice things of both cultures, and lived like that. So, but I think it's interesting, you know, that if you start looking at cultures in that way, and of course for her growing up that way, it must be very interesting.
Certainly. I think when you're exposed to multiple cultures, it can only enrich you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Marc?
Yes, tell me.
No, tell me.
I was going to equate that to musical culture.
Yeah.
I think that those who listen to multiple styles of music or play multiple styles of music have an advantage, in the sense that they are more well-rounded. They have, you know, they're a little bit more elastic in their approach, and so.
Yeah. No, that's true.
The world is a small place, and we still think it's a large place, but it's actually getting smaller and smaller. And there's no reason why we can't take bits and pieces from every culture and
absolutely. And you mentioned also in China that they have that they play these traditional Chinese instruments as well.
Yes.
I remember a few years ago there was a orchestra that visited Vienna with these traditional cultural instruments. And that's so interesting because they mixed it with Western, if you say Western classical music.
Right.
And I love this, you know, I love the fact, I also, there's choreographers in South Africa who mix the traditional African dance and music with classical music. So I love that.
That's great. There's also a cellist, I think, from South Africa. Forgot his name. He's very famous. He's doing more African, traditional African music. I forgot. I think South African. He might be from. He might be from Cameroon.
I'll
I won't
find
say.
him.
Yeah,
I'll find
he's
him.
very. I think it's something Sissoko. Anyway,
Okay, I'll find him.
good.
But Mark, tell me, what are the wishes for the future? What is the dream
For myself or for like
Yeah.
humanity?
for yourself?
I would love to play for more people. I would love to spread my voice as much as possible. I think it's important that my art form takes precedence over myself, and that me as Marc Sabbah is actually less important than what Marc Sabbah does.
Wow.
And that's something that I've been. It's a process that I've been enjoying, because I can take much more distance and actually kind of enjoy a little bit more of what I'm producing, what I'm doing, instead of being the product in a way. That is the journey of me. That's my journey as a musician. I would love to play on some big stages with some great orchestras, with some great conductors, play chamber music with all my contemporary colleagues around the world, travel, eat, compose, create opportunities. Where we have a festival here in Brussels that I organize with two partners, and we have, it's a pedagogical festival, so we have young musicians who come from all over the world, and we teach them, and I conduct the orchestra, and I work with them, and at the end you see them and how important it is to them. And for me, this is in a way more important. The impact that we have on other people's lives should take precedent before our own. I don't use the word happiness, but our own self-concerns. So the rest will come. Like as long as you're doing good, I think it's mutual. It will always come back to you tenfold. Or so just try to keep everything harmonious and keep going and keep growing.
I think you're right. And I think as a musician or as an artist, you never know who you touch, through what you're doing. And I think that's also so important that that we or that you understand, and that's what you're saying now, that it's about the music and about what you're doing. And I think that's so lovely. I love this wish that you have.
Thank you. Thanks, Petra. I appreciate it. What about you? What are the wishes?
Wish.
Yes.
My wish. Well, my wish is, and this is why I'm doing it, is that I wish that art and music, all forms of art, can be part of the education system and can be more part of children's lives, and that they that we understand the the skills that they can acquire by doing music or by doing any dance, any form of art, that's so transferable, and that they can use it for the rest of their lives, and not even, they don't have to become musicians or become full-time artists, but that they in some way will be an appreciative audience as well. You know, if you understand what you're listening to, you also appreciate it more. And I think we've just been taking art and all art subjects out of the education system and leaving our children almost in dry land, you know? So, yeah,
Yes.
so that's my wish. And this is why I'm doing this. I think the more people understand how important art is, the more that they will, you know, give opportunities or go to concerts or just support what artists are doing.
Well, I think you're doing a great thing by doing
Thank you
this.
so much.
It's important. So,
Thank you so much.
great. Thank you.